Hello, everyone. This is W, host of the podcast feature known as Surprise Cast. Welcome to today's episode, where we dive into the vibrant world of post-punk shoegaze music with the dynamic band Waves Crashing. I am joined by band members Bryce, Zach, and Josh, hailing from Seattle and Olympia, Washington, to talk about their musical journey and their latest full-throttle sophomore album, In the Blur. It's a beauty. Listen in as the band shares their connection to art and music, the creative process, and the challenges and successes that have shaped their personalities and life's journey. For the third time, let us welcome them back to Surprise Cast. Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us again.
Absolutely. Zach, how are you?
Great. Happy to be back. Thank you.
Thank
It's really
you.
a third time?
Third. Two for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Third time. And Bryce, how are you?
Doing fantastic.
I wanted to share with the listeners here that the last time I saw all of you in the flesh was for your Effection tour, and you came to San Francisco. And I had a wonderful time seeing you perform some great songs, which I had never seen that before. What did you take away from that tour,
I guess
Josh?
we never played California before collectively, so that was new. It was kind of like testing the waters down there and seeing what kind of response we would get. They're all really cool bands and lineups that we booked, and all the venues were pretty cool. But yeah, as a first time run through that area, you never know what you're going to expect, and it was fine.
Bryce or Zach?
I had a great time. I don't know if I'd really want to drive all the way down there from Washington and do that whole thing again, but no, it was fun. I had a really good time. All the shows were fun. Hanging out with these two guys in the van was fun. All over. That actually felt like a nice little vacation, which normally when you're traveling, it's the last thing you feel or like doing this kind of thing. You don't feel any sort of vacation. You're more tired when you're done with it, but this is actually really fun.
Zach?
Yeah. I mean, I echo those same sentiments. Bryce is a great long haul driver. And I guess like the different thing I can add in is like, it does kind of add, or it gives you that like experience of just how far apart a lot of the big music cities are on the West Coast versus East Coast. Many other places you can go. It's sometimes we see like some of our favorite bands may not come up to Washington, and it's like, well, we also did not enjoy that drive, and the money probably isn't there for like the big tours, all the time. But like, yeah, just there's a lot of freeway, highway in between those cities, and it's fun. It's fun to drive and talk and listen to either music, or we started doing podcasts at one point too. But yeah, I mean, especially if you're doing like one day here, one day there, no breaks in between, like you're getting up and going,
As I said to all three of you when I saw you in San Francisco, it was really nice to have you in the Bay Area showcasing the first album and those songs, and I really enjoyed that experience. I want to move into this part of the conversation where it's about inspiration. On March 15th, my girlfriend, two brothers, and I saw Nine Inch Nails in San Francisco. I've seen them many times, but something was different that night. After a jaw-dropping 2-hour set, I told Me Lovely how much Trent and company inspire me in terms of they're always pushing the envelope of their craft. So what I want to know, Josh, what's been inspiring you lately?
Well, I was just listening to the new Failure album. I like that. And I kind of revisited them over the past year, all their albums. I was definitely a fan of the few in the 90s, and then, something just kind of like fell off in the library, didn't touch it for a while. So in my mind, I got a little bit towards, like hard rock again. a little bit. But other than like music, it's just kind of like landscapes and trips. I always enjoy going to the coast. I feel like that's the most inspirational. I don't know what it is, just something about it. But yeah, those things.
Does traveling to the coast recharge your batteries? Does it give you more perspective on life? All the above?
I think it's a good head clear in that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you go through life and work, and every day is kind of the same, and you're just kind of inching along, trying to complete your objectives in life, and then you kind of go to the ocean, and it's just like your mind can breathe for a minute.
Yeah. Zach, what about you? What's been inspiring you lately?
Yeah, I wish I had like a specific album. I think last time we talked, I mentioned Dayseeker, and I'm still listening to them. They had a new release at the end of last year in October, and absolutely love it. But otherwise, I've just been on more of like I'd say self discovery journey lately, and like in refinding all of that, like it's kind of helping me like understand where I want to put my energies and whatnot. And I've been playing with a lot of, great musicians over the last year or two. And so that has really kind of like shaped some of the way that I either write music personally or like, again, outside of Waves Crashing, I primarily play guitar. So like now that I'm a year in playing bass, it's like I went to record something the other day or just practice pretty much. And I was like, man, I'm I feel like I'm more of actually a bass player now, which is kind of
Uh,
not, maybe not more than guitar, but like I feel like I could call myself a bass player at this point, maybe. Yeah.
is that simply because of experience?
I think so. That and, Josh and Bryce have been great as far as like, I don't know if I'd say the guidelines or whatever, but like, Josh will have an idea. He's got like this kind of, typical, I shouldn't, not to put down what you write, the typical like baseline, like here's like the
Oh,
thing I want you to do.
root
Or like,
notes.
yeah, root notes. And, I kind of build off of that. But, just, I think they've shown me a lot of music over the last year or so as well. And just the ideas that I get from them, I think have helped shape that.
Thank you for sharing. Bryce, what about you? What's been inspiring you?
Probably little things for me. It's been I finally, after about 3 years, got a new phone, and it's my phones. I usually have them until they're just destroyed and they will not turn on anymore. And so I got this new phone, and right away I just started taking pictures with it, and I was like, oh my God, like this is so much better than my phone. And so and I can actually like listen to music while I'm on my walks with my dog. And so it's something like it's super small, but being able to like walk around my neighborhood with my dog, we usually take like an hour to 2 hour walk every night. And we usually end up walking around at nighttime, and we just go into different neighborhoods, and I get to look around and hang out with him. And I don't know, it's been nice because like I haven't really had a chance to kind of just like enjoy it for a while. Like it's been kind of just a chore to do. So now it's I'm allowing myself to enjoy it more. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm really taking inspiration from anywhere necessarily, but I feel something. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but I've kind of tried to be more receptive instead of like putting a lot of stuff out there. Like whatever comes my way, I'm open to it and just kind of see where it leads me, and no plans. And so far, for the most part, things work out pretty well. So I don't know. I guess that's kind of inspiring.
Absolutely. And that device in your hand, and I can totally relate to you because I remember having several phones and I would literally wear them down to the bone.
Uh-huh.
And then when I got the next phone, I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
these images are 10 times better. The video, the audio, everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
And
and
yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say like then that's been my big thing. Like I was taking photos on my old phone and they all look like shit. I mean, but like to me, I'm like, okay, well, I know what that actually is supposed to look like. So to me, it looks good. But now it's like I can actually like take it, and then I can edit it, I can mess with it, I can do stuff with it, and it's kind of and make me feel better about like, I hate to say this, like my photography specifically is like art. I'm not going to go there, but it's like, it makes me feel like I'm doing something more than just like taking a random picture. Like it actually makes,
Yeah.
I see what I did. It makes me feel better. And so
Yeah.
kind of gives like a little boost of confidence.
Absolutely.
A
Okay.
little expression.
I love these inspirations. Thank you, all of you. Okay, Josh. So when I was 5 years old, I went to go see the movie Superman, Christopher Reeve, and that movie forever changed me. It was an art form that shifted my perspective because that was the first time I really got a sense of awe and wonder. How can something on a screen be so majestic, such an amazing piece of special effects at the time? And I flew around my house with that cape on for a long time. So I want you to tell the listeners and me a moment in your early part of life where any form of art shifted your perspective. And I want to know why.
Honestly, it's a very tough question. And I definitely painted a lot of Ninja Turtles. I remember that. But yeah, I mean, I loved cartoons. So, geez, man, that's really tough. I also liked, even from a young age, I liked buildings. I liked structures. And that plays, it makes sense now a lot, but I always could like remember a space I was in
Mhm.
and I could dream about it and kind of like remember where all the rooms and doors are very vividly.
So I want to go back to the cartoons. I grew up with cartoons. There is something obviously familiar and safe about it and full of imagination. So what about for you? Was it the actual renderings, these drawings that you would see within the cartoons and the way that they were moving? Was it the storyline? What was it about these cartoons?
Yeah, just the visualization of like vehicles and cars and moving and like, adding to my imagination. I remember I'd run around a lot if I had this thing when I was a kid. If I was like really in deep thought and like imaginative about something, I would run around the house. And that's when my brain was really going, is when I would like sprint a little bit around the house. I don't know.
So I was running around in a Superman cape and you were running around
Yeah,
cartoons.
with a DeLorean or something. There was a Back to the Future cartoon I was obsessed with after the films. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Holy shit, how did I miss that?
Yeah, it was a few seasons too.
Okay, I'm sure I can go back and rediscover some of this on YouTube. Okay, what about for you, Zach? Early part of your life that some art form and really impressed you?
Yeah, I think my big examples happen around like kindergarten. I'm struggling to think of the age. It's probably like 6 or something like that, right? 5 or 6. But, before that, we kind of moved around a bit and I had like a childhood friend or two that we'd see a little bit. I had a brother I grew up with and like, but outside of that, I felt like I wasn't really exposed to all that much. And so when it came time for like, oh, I'm in school now, there's all these other people around me, this is cool. It was like a twofold thing. My kindergarten teacher did like a whole, mm, like probably what could be quarter of school in the spring around just like Japanese culture. And she had us doing all these different arts and stuff. And like, I really hadn't seen much of it at that point. And so just, anything from like the fantastical to like their historic things like shrines, but, like their mythology with like dragons and whatnot too. The art is just all gorgeous. Like someday I'd love a, traditional Japanese tattoo too. But I got that with the double whammy of the other kids introduced me to Pokemon. That was this new emerging thing, and so specifically the first thing I saw of it was the cards. And, some kid had his binder at the playground. It's just like, oh, okay, one, there's all these creatures, which is like, opened up the imagination for sure. But every card, it's like, it's not the same artist that did every single one. So it's like oh, there's all these different people out here that get to put their art into something so cool. And so, you know, I still love Pokemon in Japan and stuff today, even. So it's like, I think that was really formative. And I'd say, even back to the last question, inspiring at such a young age, too.
I remember when Pokemon just took off stratospherically. What is it about Pokemon that people at that time loved and still love today?
Man, yeah. I mean, I think back then, especially with technology was starting to emerge and grow in ways that we hadn't seen yet. Like, all of a sudden, the Game Boy came out, and you have this link cable. And with the Pokemon games, you know, they did too, which was a great marketing thing. They're still doing too, you know, but you would have to go find other kids to trade with to like complete the game. And so I think it created like early sense of community, something to bond with people over. And, you know, I think it also, as like a young person, was like, oh, the cartoon and stuff was like, you know, there's all these creatures you can be friends with, and just imagining what that would be like to like have them instead of like a dog or a cat. I love dogs and cats. That's great. A Pokemon would be cool too, you know, but you know, and then I think psychologically they got into people's head with like the collectability. And then as time goes on, you know, a lot of folks still love collecting. Now we've got this whole like fear of missing out culture thing, and they've really leaned into that too with some of the events and stuff that go on. And so, you know, not only is it just like lovable characters, kind of like a story of like a different world in a way that things could be so much better just with the help of these creatures, you know, but also just, yeah, I would say community. And just, you know, there's so many now that it's like everyone has a favorite, and it could be different, you know. There's over 1,000 now at this point.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, maybe I should dip my foot into that pool, see what it's all about. Thank you. Bryce, what about for you?
Kind of like Josh. Like when I was a kid, I was really into cartoons. Like for me, it was Ren and Stimpy, Rocko's Modern Life, Ah Real Monsters, stuff like that. And it was also comic books too. Like both of those together, like I learned how to read from comic books and cartoons. Like I figured out how to do it just by watching those two things. And it had such an impact on my life that when I was a kid, you know, everyone's like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the only thing I would ever say is like, I want to be a cartoonist. I want to go make cartoons. It never happened. What I did instead, because like all I had was like what I had in front of me. So I took pieces of paper and I created my own little comic book. I created this character out of nowhere and wrote a whole thing for it, like put it together and like gave it to my mom. She's still got it apparently somewhere. But yeah, like that was the huge thing on my life. Like I still think back about that. Like one specific artist that is still doing it in comic books, his name's Greg Capullo, and he did a lot of work on Spawn, the comic book, and then he eventually did a long run on Batman. He's done a lot of other things, but his artwork still to this day, there's something about it that like I don't know, it's very nostalgic, but at the same time too, it's very recent, and I don't know, like there's something about his art style that just captures my imagination. And just even today when I see something new he comes out with, like it just blows me away. And I'm like, I wish I could do that. Like that's what I want to do. And you know, I don't know. Like, yeah.
Did you ever practice drawing and
Oh
do
yeah.
illustrations? Okay.
Oh yeah. I used to, I mean, for a long time, like I was never really a good artist, I would say. But I used to have like Calvin and Hobbes books and like Garfield books, and I'd like go and I'd practice drawing those characters, and I would just do whatever I could. Like if I found a comic book and it was simple enough for me to do, like I would try and like just look at it and draw it, not trace or anything. And I used to draw a lot. Like I mean, again, like my skills, if I would have practiced at it, I think I probably could have been okay. But I just, you know, got sidetracked with other things. Lately, I've been wanting to get more into it for no other reason than just because, you know, it'd be nice to kind of like, you know, paint or draw or do something to kind of get things out it's like you can see things in your mind, but you can't describe it. You just got to kind of draw it out. Like, I wouldn't mind being able to do that.
It is such a wonderful art form, and I appreciate it more and more every time I head up to the Charles Schulz Museum
Oh, nice.
and learn more about Sparky and his incredible work as a comic strip illustrator and the stories that he would tell within the Peanuts. So good. Okay. Josh, I'm going to read a quote here. This is from Bob Marley.
Ooh.
He says this: "You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice." So we're going to talk about struggles and strength and success. What are some musical struggles that you overcame to get to this point, either as a musician or if you want to talk about the band, you can?
I guess, self-doubt. Early on as a young musician, you kind of like don't know what kind of music you want to do, or you haven't found your voice yet. And, for some people, that struggle can be 6 months to a year, and a young musician can really find that path early, and some it take 10 years. So I feel like I was a late bloomer into figuring out, who I was as a musician and what kind of, what I wanted to do. For a while, I just didn't know. I knew I liked certain genres and this kind of sound, this tone, but putting it all together and knowing how to do it, and that just takes experience and learning from other people. But I feel like for a long time, that was a struggle to get there. In my mind, I feel like I should have been at this point 10 years ago. As far as songwriting or the progress of a band in general.
Whilst you were going through these experiences of self-doubt, did you have someone along the way that would kind of buoy you, that would encourage you to see the other side of this?
No, nobody.
Wow. Holy shit.
No, in fact, most, before these guys are great, but in my 20s, the musicians I would hang out with are assholes and would put your stuff down. So that didn't help. No one was encouraging throughout my whole 20s.
Wow. So no other musicians, no instructors, family member.
Probably, there's one guy, and we've done a couple remixes with him. Pablo, I used to work with him in New York, and he was a harsh critic on me, but kind of in a mentor way. He taught me a lot and made me realize a lot of things kind of in a tough love way. And, I still talk to him, I don't know, every month today. So I would say he's the one person that was constructive during that whole learning process of becoming a better musician, because he'd be really, really blunt with me about how's this sound, what you're trying to do. You need to not be like your influences. You need to listen more to what your influences listen to. You need to go back further. You need to go back further and listen. You need to, take a little bit here and there. Don't focus on too much of the same thing, stuff like that. Just or if it was recording stuff or if it was promotional stuff, he was still helpful in that way too. But yeah, I would say he was the only one now that I think of it. But that wasn't until later, because when you're a young musician, your late teens, early 20s, that's crucial because you're still trying to figure out who you want to become in that sense. And if all around you is just negative energy, you're not going to progress. At least, later he was harsh at times, but I know he meant well and was trying to help me.
Is he aware of the impact that he had on you?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
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 Thank you for sharing. Zach, what about you? What are some musical struggles that you've dealt with?
Yeah, similarly, I think self-doubt to some degree too, but the biggest thing I can think of would be I would say even until right up before I joined these guys last year, I was afraid or even embarrassed to sing in front of people. And now I'm doing it multiple times a month, a few different ways. And it'd be the same for shows. I would feel kind of embarrassed almost to be up on stage, even if it was like the thing that I really enjoy doing. And it has been. I've been doing it since I was 16, something like that, maybe younger. But like, that something something broke that in Waves Crashing, whether it was the frequency of doing things or just like me joining a band that was at like a more serious level than I was used to or something to that effect. And it was just like, if I want to be a part of this, I have to. And then now I'm fine. It's fine. Yeah. um,
Wow.
so yeah, I'm thankful.
Well, that's a total testament and compliment to your bandmates,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think so.
So before we pass the ball over to Bryce, I want to know this fear of singing. You've been doing it for a while. So what was it, just you felt like you just didn't have any confidence in your voice? Did someone put you down? What was it?
I mean, growing up with my brother, we'd always tell each other to shut up if we were sick of hearing it, and so maybe there was something there, but like, we'd sing along to Disney movies or to whatever, and as we got into our own music taste in the car and stuff like that, it was just like I think it was more like the act of performing in front of other people in some way,
Yeah.
because I never really did that a whole lot, and something about that was like a big hurdle.
Fascinating. Loving it. Thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Bryce,
I mean, kind of always struggle with just not feeling like I'm good enough. I mean, it's something I think everyone struggles with. I'm always worried that whatever I'm doing, somebody could always do it better. Whatever I'm doing, it's probably not good enough. Whatever I'm doing, it could be done better or could be more or less but it's just like that little voice in the back of your head. And that voice has been there probably my entire life. And so I kind of just try to ignore it and learn how to take compliments and not really dwell on the criticisms as much as possible and try and compliment other people as much as possible. Like that's kind of, yeah, like I, growing up, I didn't really have a lot of people that would say nice things about you to your face. So it was kind of so I had a friend or two that taught me, it's better to like boost people up, be the person that you wish other people were towards you. So it's like, but yeah, normal stuff.
I don't remember if we talked about this last time, Bryce. Did you have a music instructor, a drumming instructor?
Kind of in 7th grade, so middle school where I was, we had like a percussion class. So that's where I first learned how to the very basics of how to do anything.
Feel like that was a positive experience for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think yes, it was memorable with our teacher. His name was Mr. Pagliaroli. Mr. Pag is what we used to call him. Guy was just an amazing jazz drummer. Like he didn't often like to like sit down and play in front of us. He liked to try and teach us. Dude had a temper. I've seen him throw one of those music stands across the room at a kid's head. I've seen him pound on something until he cut his own hand open and blood was flying everywhere. He was so funny. I don't know. Like the guy had a lot of personality, but I don't know. Like I don't know what it was. Like that sticks with me. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah. And he was very matter of factly. Like if you were fucking up, he would tell you. He wouldn't sugarcoat it. If you did good, he would tell you.
Nice.
So
Nice.
it was much appreciated, and he wouldn't bust your chops. Like he wasn't that kind of guy, and he wasn't somebody to kind of like overly laid on thick if you were doing good. So that was a good starting point.
Yeah. I've often wondered why musicians have a hard time taking compliments.
I don't know.
They really do.
Well, actually, I know why I do personally, but then when I say it out loud, it kind of makes me sound like the asshole. So I'm kind of hesitant to even saying it. But like, I feel like the people that usually give me compliments are people I know. And so, I don't know, hey, are they just trying to be nice and just trying to say something they think I want to hear? Or in another situation, it's like, and if any local musicians or any bands we've played with or are going to play with in the future hear this, it's not you, it's me. But sometimes when you're playing a show and a band walks off stage, you'll tell them, "Hey, that was really good. Good job." And I feel like I mean it every time I say it, but I never know if somebody saying it to me means it. Because I'm like, so you just kind of take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah.
It might just be a personality thing. Like maybe most musicians are just kind of wired to think they're shit for some reason.
I love talking to all three of you. This is good. Josh, how would you define success as a musician or for your band?
But I think at my level, it's a lot different than some other people. But I feel like if you are able to make a product in the studio, release it, get it to some ears, that's success right there. But if you're trying to achieve more, for me, what really makes me feel good is like opening for bands that I look up to.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I look back now and when we're older, I'm going to look back at the times like we opened for some of my favorite bands. I think that's something that I'll never like just lose touch of and be like, that was awesome. That was cool. But on the other hand, sometimes you meet these bands and they're not as cool as you thought and it ruins it for you. Like it's like meeting your heroes sometimes. There's always that risk. Like, oh, maybe I don't want to meet them because then it'll taint my view of this band and then I won't want to listen to them anymore and enjoy the music. And that can happen. That can happen for sure.
You realize they're just human.
That's true. 100%. But yeah, at a small level, I think those two things, like putting out an album and like opening for some cool bands that you look up to, that's success in my eyes. Would I shoot and strive for more? Yeah, totally. But all those other things are, pretty unlikely. So I think, it's like more having appreciation for the success that you do have.
Yes, well stated. Bryce or Zach, can you tell the listeners and me a proud moment of us being in the band? Waves Crashing.
I have a few that are really cool and things that I've never really experienced before. Like every so often, Josh has some way of finding out like when we're played on the radio, and he'd be like, "Oh, they just played, Feel the Glow on KEXP or whatever," and like that's just a really great feeling because I've never been on the radio on anything before. I try not to like sum it up to numbers or anything, but seeing like people really enjoying things, that's always like a proud moment too. And then like, I just the creative process on this end, it's like we got to be a team and make this really cool thing. And even things as I shouldn't say as little as because it's great, but like seeing the physical like CDs in person, that's like, this is sick.
Yes, yes. It's your identity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bryce, what about for you? Was there a very proud moment you could think of?
Honestly, our last show we just played over the weekend. I don't know, like I feel like I was in the moment. I was in the pocket for the most part. I was feeling it, and right behind us was a video playing on this big projector that I had made. And like, I don't know, the whole moment I was just like trying to take it in. I'm like this is great. Like I don't know, I walked off of there like actually like proud of myself. There's been tons of others, but like that was the most recent one.
Where was the show?
Was that Wild Child in Olympia?
Okay.
Great little venue.
So you were in the moment, you're feeling present, everything was just flowing, firing on all cylinders.
Yep. Didn't throw a stick. A cymbal didn't fly off the stand. I didn't shit the bed at all. And because normally it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure these guys could probably attest to this. Like, I don't think I've ever played what I would call a perfect show ever. And this was not one of those, but like it was as close as I feel like I possibly like could have gotten. Like everything just felt right. And yeah, I just felt really happy. I was really content, really happy. Yeah, it was nice.
So if some sports people, obviously you might be aware of this, where they try to recapture that skill, that approach to the ninth hole, whatever it may be, right?
Mhm.
So even though it's not going to be the exact same thing, how can you go about maybe capturing that magic again?
Like for me, I guess I don't really think about trying to capture the magic because you kind of have a job to do.
Okay.
It's not a ton of pressure. Like obviously, like an athlete probably has a lot more pressure than I do, but you know, I try to like make it as good as I can for everyone else in the band, for these two guys. I try to make it as consistent for them so that way they can do what they need to do to help put on a good show, and getting that instant feedback from people that you can see right in front of you, like that kind of helps to keep you in the zone, and you're not thinking about the future, you're not thinking about the past, you're trying to be as present as possible and just do what you got to do. And I mean, that to me, like just people, a collection of people coming together to do individual things to make this one greater whole. Like that to me is always going to be magic. Like it doesn't, I don't care if it sounds like shit, if we're playing Beethoven, to me, that's always magic, especially if you can touch people. Like if you can reach out and you can make people feel, that is, in my opinion, that's magic. And I feel like we try and capture that every single time we play.
Well, that was definitely apparent when I saw you guys play in San Francisco. And I think the magic in terms of your experience as a collective group is definitely paying off. And we have a new album to talk about. This is exciting. Dave Grohl says this: recording an album is like painting a picture with a moving train. I think that's well said, even though I've never made an album myself. So let's talk about this sophomore album. Josh, are the core ideas behind this? What's the emotional thread undertone?
Emotional thread undertone. I mean, every song almost has a different meaning, but it's some of the same emotional themes of the last one. There's a lot of similarities there, and I mentioned this too before in another session. I feel like the new album's kind of a sister album to Affection. It's more mature and there's some growth in the album, but for me personally, some of the themes or progressions of the last one, whether it's like love or, a political climate, or is it the music industry, or facing your fears, or, not giving up, or, a lot of things I write about is time, span of time,
Yep.
urgency of it, stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like it's in the same vein. There's a lot of same moods and vibes going on, but I just feel like it's just a little further ahead
Yeah.
in the emotional maturity, I would say.
Dare I say, my ears tell me that the production quality, not that I didn't love the last album, but I feel like the production quality has been taken up a notch or two. Yeah.
Oh, really? That's surprising you say that. I mean, we recorded it kind of the same way with the same person.
Okay.
But as I always feel like a good engineer, their next mix is always better than their last. So, because there's like new tools, there's new plugins coming out, there's all these, and as an engineer, I'm sure he learns. So it's a year further in his progression as an
Sure.
engineer and artist. So if that album didn't sound better than the last one, then that's probably not good in that sense. So
Sounds,
yeah.
yeah. Well, tip of the cap. It sounds great. And so why this title?
In the Blur, well, it stemmed from another song that we were kind of working on that was going to like be aimed at coming on the album, but it didn't make it. It just never really finished, and it felt, I don't know, wobbly. It just wasn't there. So that song was called, what was it, In the Blur of the Now? We thought, oh, maybe the title will be that. I really like In the Blur. And then when we found this jellyfish photo by photographer Renee Gross in Portland, I just felt like the title just matched that photo really well. And then there was a moment there where I was kind of like, oh, maybe it's not the right thing. So I started like making prototypes of something else to see it. And we always came back to the jellyfish in the Blur, and it just made sense of being like, in this hodgepodge of the world, there's tons of music, there's tons of artists, there's tons of turmoil. There's all kinds of shit going on right now, as you know, and it's freaking crazy. It's not even it's like some of the stuff you couldn't even make up that's going on, and it's 2026. We could do a whole other podcast about that, but I feel like in the Blur, a lot of these songs are some of those emotions, and it ties together with the imagery. And under the water, the sea floor, it can be, you see jellyfish sometimes, and it's kind of like spitting up the sand and the sea floor. And we're in that blur. We're in that blur of a million artists putting out their stuff and hoping to get some ears.
I noticed there is a name in the credits here by the name of John Conley, who I appreciate and respect a great deal. Could you tell us who John is?
Yeah, John is the guitar player and singer for his band, Desario. He's also the brother of Katie in Soft Science, and they've had bands in the past together. So two people that have been in the industry for a while on the West Coast, and he's done a hell of a job of artwork. So all the Soft Science cover art is amazing. He's done some really cool posters too. When I met him a while back when we played Dream Gaze in Portland, and then we relinked up when we played in Sacramento last August after the San Francisco, because he played with us, and we talked about like doing artwork, because at that time we had only 3 songs done or something in the studio. But as time went on, we were kind of like fixated on the jellyfish photo from Renee, but we thought it would still be a good idea to have John kind of just do the layout.
Got it.
And make sure it's just kind of like, because I could have done it and it would have been a little but make sure all the fonts are right, all the line weights, everything's aligned. He's a professional. So he did the back panel too of the CD and the vinyl, which you'll see it coming soon.
And most importantly, he's a nice guy.
He's really nice. He's really easy to work with. He also he did all the flyers for Tremolo Fest this year. That's in June. So we brought him on Tremolo Fest too, and he did all the graphics for that.
Yeah,
check that out.
He's exceptional at what he does, and he's also done some work for Luna, the great indie band.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I see he's got this one killer poster that I love. There's when his old band, I think, opened for Johnny Marr.
I have not seen it.
I think it's on his portfolio website.
Okay.
It's a really great flyer. But anyway, that's it.
I'll have to check it out. Zach, in terms of making this sister sophomore album as well, tell us, how do you feel like the band kind of stepped out of their comfort zone a little bit, stretched their wings a little bit more?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for everyone, I guess, except for me. I mean, I got to come in and do 2 songs on Affection at the very end there, but it was a whole new person in the process for Bryce, Josh, and Josh too, who does the, production, charrette, as we were still getting to know each other and whatnot. I feel like that happened pretty quick, but still, there's a new person in the process where before it was just the 3 of them able to do everything, maybe that could be one. I know Bryce definitely always would love a little bit more time on the drums. We kind of get the easier part where like Bryce's foundation has to be done before we finalize guitar and everything. And then, there has been some room to kind of go in and redo maybe a thing or two if we really want it. But, definitely some just having to sit with it and be cool with it. And, there's been studio moves. There's been, yeah, I mean, those are the big ones that I could think of. Really, I mean,
your impromptu bass part on Regarden.
Oh yeah, just sometimes we'll come up with an idea last minute, out of practice when we're jamming on something. I picked up Josh's bass 6 and was playing that along with Marine Garden, and that kind of spawned the that extra instrument you hear at the beginning and end of the song. That was just a part that I made one time right after practice, and I think we recorded it right then and there, and that was it.
We did. It's just, there was 2 takes. All right, that's cool.
Yeah, and it worked out, but that's probably the big stuff I can think of. Overall, I think it's very cool that the process is very self-contained within the band. And then, Josh Charette is someone, very close to that circle too. And so I feel like all the communication is pretty easy. I think sometimes when we're trying to figure out like, well, when can we release this? Josh is definitely like the handler of
Mhm.
schedule and things like that. And so I think,
I'm cracking the whip.
yeah, no. But like, the stress of all that, and he manages it great on his own, but that can be a lot too, I'm sure.
Mm. Yeah. And we talked about that previous conversation, the tremendous workload it takes to run that machine. Oh, it's insane. Bryce, what about for you? Any standout stories whilst making this out? Anything you want to share?
It was cool to play in because we swapped studios like a couple songs into the recording process. So I got to record a couple songs in the where the new studio is. And so that was pretty cool. Like, but yeah, no, not. I mean, it was kind of, like Josh said, like it in almost every sense, it felt like it was just like a continuation almost of affection, because like it all kind of just felt like, 10 years from now, when I think back about it, I'll probably confuse the process for one or the other. So it was the same process. Yeah, nothing. It was no major issues, nothing crazy happened. I wish I could say more to that.
Smooth sailing then.
Yeah, pretty
Would it-
much.
I would add, I think on the next time, whenever that is, I think I do want to change it up and do something like, go to a weekend somewhere or some cool studio, some famous studio, or like, go have an experience instead of doing, not that the way we have done it, just, sometimes you just need a fresh take or approach.
Yeah.
It's to kind of like see how the music will take to that. I'm open to like doing something, although that will cost more. So that's,
I'll tell you what. We'll take a weekend. I'll bring the mushrooms. We'll lock ourselves in your house. It'll be great.
but like there's plenty of like legendary studios in the whole Northwest. It'd be cool to explore some of them and just see,
Yeah.
because just like Dave Grohl says, right, and Sonic Highways, the music bleeds the surroundings that you recorded in a little bit. So I don't know. I definitely been thinking about that a little bit, as far as like taking the next record, whenever that is, to a different place and just seeing what options we have and what doors we can open as far as, having a unique production experience.
I got 2 words for you. Do it. I want to talk about a couple songs, but the first one I want to talk about is a cover song. It's Radiohead, Creep. There might be some people listening to this podcast thinking, why that song?
It's easy. No, I mean, I like the song. I always liked the song, even when I was a kid. It's a simple progression. It was in my range. Everyone knew it. I thought, we could do it a bit differently and make it our own, adding some textures and dreamy stuff. And I felt like it would just be a good cover. And I didn't want to spend an enormous amount of time dissecting a cover. And I thought that would be something that we could gravitate and mold into our own way fairly quickly.
Yeah. I experienced that cover, your version, when you played live, and I really, really enjoyed it. It had some really nice atmosphere to it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it came out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it.
you should be.
I do remember afterwards, Josh Charette was skeptical about it, and he didn't know if it was going to work out. And I was just like, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to work.
It totally works. And before we even hit record for this conversation, I was saying, like, it's a daring attempt at capturing something that so many people are aware of, and they could easily point the finger and go, what is this rendition? What I've heard this a million times from
Yeah, a lot of
other
people.
bands.
I didn't
No.
realize till afterwards, as a friend of mine was telling me that it had some kind of resurgence on TikTok. And
Really?
so the younger generation kind of like rediscovered it, and it was kind of a thing again. And I had no idea. And so, yeah, there's a lot of covers on TikTok for it.
Another song I want to talk about is the opening track, Feel the Glow. Man, just pounding that driving engine of sound. We're here again. Our identity is starting to take hold. We're starting to really put our feet down on these pedals. Was that the first song you composed for this album?
No, definitely not. It was definitely from early on. I was like, this is going to be the first track. It definitely felt like a song that opened the album, but no, Out and Away and Coming Up for Air are probably the earlier songs that were written first. Is that what you mean? As far as when you're written?
Yeah.
No, I Feel the Glow was written at like end of summer, early fall.
So, Zach, when you guys decide on how you put the sequencing of songs together, does that come easily for you guys, or is that something you you kind of nitpick? And
It was mostly easy, I think.
Yeah.
We had some back and forth on like the overall listing, I think, or maybe we just posed like a couple like different versions. And I mean, I think did some listen throughs to see like how things flowed into each other. I would say,
I think this one came along easier.
yeah. And I think I missed most of it for Affection as far as track listing, but it really didn't feel like a struggle. And not to say that it was a struggle, but I think the part that was almost more like, well, what do we do? Or where we had more dialogue on was like, what are the singles and what order do we want to put them out in? And so we had a bit of conversation around that. You know,
I think like we struggled more with Affection, and I think Bryce, if I recall, I think Bryce, you had a lot of input on the track listing for Affection because there was a lot of debate, I think, on that one. But I feel like for this album, there wasn't as much debate about the track listing. Yeah, I don't know. Do you remember, Bryce?
Nope.
I kind of remember like struggling with Affection on what where the track should be, and I remember like Bryce having a good input on that, but this one seemed like to come along easier in that sense.
Do you guys feel this album has a little bit more punch to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a few songs because of the guitar tuning. I feel like that's part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you someone you used to be? All I need to know, you're not alone. Feel the glow. It's alright, you'll be okay. I know you're somewhere in between. Hold on tight, face your fear.
There's another song, lyrics go like this: here we go, it's something, never mind, it's nothing. I'm coming up for air out of my nightmare. Is it me or is it you? Can't decide what to do. I'm coming up for air out of my nightmare. I love this song. Tell me more about it.
That one, I was in like a short relationship years back, and it's about a emotionally abusive relationship with someone I dated. So a lot of late nights of arguing about nothing. And that's
You know, when when the clock strikes 12, nothing good happens after that.
yeah, that was a whirlwind. I got, and on the bridge, it's like, I let myself in this mess, and really, I stepped in shit in that one, and I was still trying like hell to get out of it.
So when you write the lyrics, Josh, what tends to come first? Is it the music and then the lyrics? Is it the lyrics and the music?
No, it's the music always first. Yeah,
Okay.
because then you have like a little melody going in your head.
Yeah.
And then the words come, and when you start like humming something, and you start. So, but yeah, there's not really like a guitar part. Kind of, there's some chords going,
Yeah.
and then maybe the initial lyrics they change. They can change sometimes too, but I don't change them too much. If I have like a catchy line in my head, it kind of stays because I can't get it out. And if I try to change it or like replace it, not add to it, it's hard to do that because phonetically sometimes in my head those words fit so well, it's hard to replace them.
Here we go, it's something, never mind, it's nothing. I'm coming up for air, out of my nightmare. Is it me or is it you? I can't decide what to do. I'm coming up for air, out of my nightmare. Another day, another night, made it through one more fight.
Zach or Bryce, anything else you want to say about this album, this wonderful album?
Man, I'm just glad to be a part of it. I mean, I love it. I love
Yeah.
Defection too, but feel like, for lack of a better way to put it, like more of a sense of like ownership and belonging in it, and like I can get up on stage and be like, you know, these are the songs that I helped with. I made these bass parts. I'm not like, Josh Jarrett is a amazing bass player too, and I've thrown my own flair on some of his parts. But to some degree, it's like, if he comes out, it's like, oh, I got to play that right today. you know? So I think that's the big one for me, and I'm just excited to see where we go from there.
I gave my friend an early like listen to the album a month or two ago, whatever.
Yeah.
And she's not one to give a lot of compliments. So the only good things she said about it was, "Who is your bass player?" Because his bass lines are awesome. Like, is that Zach? I'm like, yeah. And that's all she said. So kudos, man.
Thank
You got the one compliment out of her.
Yes,
Yeah. Look, are you blushing over there?
it's hard to tell.
Bryce, any closing thoughts on this?
Had a lot of fun writing and recording it with everybody, and I'm looking forward to having it come out and everyone being able to listen to it and kind of just hearing what their thoughts are, what their opinions are.
Yeah. Well, I love it. And I was actually, when you sent over the album, Josh, I was like, okay, when am I going to set aside some time to really take it all in? And how am I going to do that? And that's always fun. So what I decided to do was the last album I blasted on my stereo. This one was in the headphones. It sounds so good.
Well,
It's
thank
so
you.
good. Yeah, absolutely. And I think people, I know there are some shoegaze, dream pop listeners, particularly in the Chrissy Vanderwood world, all of that. Amber, I just have a feeling they're all going to really like it. Yeah.
So
Thumbs up.
it's not super shoegazy. So, sometimes the purists, they,
I don't know. I mean, and again, I say these things with great respect. I feel like there's a little bit more hooks and melodies on this.
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Not to say they weren't on the last album, because you know how I felt about the last album.
Okay.
It's good shit. Okay.
It's probably more like, the affection came along really quick. It was a rushed album. This one had like 2 more months of breathing time.
A breathing time.
Maybe there was a little more thought and push to make a song better here. At least for me personally, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate you saying that.
Of course. I asked you to come to this conversation with a concert stub, a piece of art that you want to talk about, or recommend some TV shows or movies, albums, podcasts, books that you've been enjoying. So, Josh, let's start with you. Which one do you want to talk about?
Oh boy. Like I saw like a memorable concert maybe that was really influential in a way. Yeah, I guess you could say. There's 2. There's one as like a teenager, 14-year-old. My parents, for my birthday's at the end of December, so this show, was like February or April or something, so spring, whatever. And it was like, I don't know, 1996, 1997 or something. And definitely a 90s grunge kid, so they got me tickets to see Bush, and which was really awesome because who was opening was Veruca Salt.
Oh,
And that was really cool. And that was
I
in
remember that
Philadelphia. And I was, at that point, the only like real concert I experienced was like a country show. I saw Leanne Rimes when she was really young. My parents took me, and I did not appreciate it because I was like, 13 and like fuck country. But my uncle did he did take me to see Metallica, and I was blown away by that. But I wasn't really a metal kid, so the Bush Veruca Salt thing like really blew me away. And then later in life, I got free tickets to see Paul McCartney, and that was amazing.
free.
Yeah, I knew someone that worked at the stadium, and I was just right place, right time. She had free tickets.
What about for you, Zach?
God, it had to be 2010, 2011, 2012, one of those 3. For Valentine's Day, my brother and I went with our partners at the time to El Corazon in Seattle to see the Drugs tour, or Destroy Rebuild Until God Shows tour. And, they had just come out with that album. That was kind of like, I don't want to say a super group, but like it was guys from a bunch of different, bands from like the emo era of music. And they came together and just made this really killer album. And they were also touring with Hit the Lights, which is one of my all-time favorite pop punk bands. And man, it was one hell of a show. It was packed. Like there was some guy just moshing way too hard, like throwing fists and stuff. And I saw him knock my brother. And so I got in there and started throwing elbows. Guy disappeared. So that's like my one violent moment in life. That's like, yeah, I'm going to protect my brother. But no, the big thing with this one, like Drugs did awesome. I was trying to remember who the middle band was. Don't remember. But Hit the Lights was so good. I believe at that point they'd released their album Invicta, which I do really like. But the album before that, Skip School Start Fights, had a whole bunch of bangers, as the kids say, and this was like one of my first younger, like crowd surfing experiences. And the reason that I think about this concert so much is because not only do I love that album from Hit the Lights so much, but I was like being pushed up I wasn't like going up and back. I was going up to the stage. And so Nick Thompson, the singer, he like grabbed me and pulled me up on stage, and I was just like, what do I do? I looked at him, and in my mind I was like, should I ask for the mic because I love this song and I should sing it? But again, this goes back to my fear of singing or whatever. And so I looked over, and there's not really security either. So it's like, am I supposed to dance or sing with him or what? And I just jumped back onto the crowd. And so I think about it all the time, just like, that was my moment. I could have sung with this guy. I could have like made a connection, something like that. And so if by some, far reach Nick Thompson is listening, next time you come through Washington, let's do something. I've thought about messaging the guy because he seems reachable, but it's like, I'm sure I'm the only one thinking about that moment, but maybe,
That's a great story. Love it. Bryce, what about for you?
Let's see. Do you see that okay?
Calvin.
Hold on. God damn it. There we go. So I've got this hanging up at my work. It's from Kalamazoo Shoegazer that we played at. Yeah, I don't know. Great memory. The whole trip was awesome. And I like to be able to like turn around and see that when I'm working because it's just kind of like, oh yeah. Like life is good,
Yeah. Who else was on that billing?
Oh, let's see. So
Yeah,
if you look up at her Beehive.
Yeah, Cigarettes for Breakfast were great. Sea Shine was really good. Brief Candles. Every band was good. We weren't there for the first night, so we only saw the second night. But that was the best road trip, I think.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Again, we did like Detroit, Kalamazoo, and Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne was fucking great. Like we played like a little basement show, and it was just a whole bunch of local kids and like young adults and stuff that were there, and it was great. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
But I also, so just to kind of make up for my lack of preparedness, so lately I have been getting into collecting comics again. Nothing crazy, but I found there's this one that came out. I had to buy it. I put up a little bit of money to get it just because the look of it. Can you guys see that okay?
Oh yeah.
Oh my, wow.
So
Holy
I bought
smokes.
that. I bought that, and I've got it in a frame at my house. Yeah, I just when I'm at my desk working on like video editing, I just stare at it.
Could you tell the listeners who did that?
His name is Mark Brooks, and so specifically, okay, so that character that's Poison Ivy from Batman, and it's for the latest run of it's called Absolute Batman, and that is number 17. It's a variant cover. And like I said, like I've been out of doing like collecting comic books for years, like 30 years probably. But I saw that and I just instantly fell in love with it. And I was like, I've got to have that, like all those colors and just the imagery and like,
Yes.
yeah. I don't have a lot of like physical pieces of anything that I'm like, I cherish, like my drum, but like this is going to be one of them now. Like, I don't care what, and it's signed by the artist too. And I'm like, I don't care what happens. Like that's coming with me wherever I go. If I have to save one thing from a house fire, it's going to be that. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of nerdy. It's kind of stupid, but like, I don't know what it is. I love it.
Not nerdy at all, and it's definitely not stupid. I love it. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Josh, what's coming down the line for this band?
As far as like record release type shows, we're going to play Tremolo Fest in Seattle, and then we're going to have kind of a spin-off show in Olympia the day after, which will be our local record release show, and that's going to be really cool because that's with Lauren Lackus and Cigarettes for Breakfast. We're both coming for Tremolo as well, and I'm excited to play with them too, very much. And then really not too much until November when we play the UK. We're going to play 5 shows in the UK.
When I saw that, man, did you hear my yelping? I was happy for you guys.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Absolutely. Cool. You want to tell us a little bit about, can you share anything?
Yeah, because they're going to announce it soon anyway. I think next month. We are playing the Dream Pop Shoegaze All-Dayer there in London, which now they moved to 2 nights. So it's going to be called the Shoegaze, or maybe it's Dream Pop Shoegaze, but now it's called Weekender. So they expanded, and that's at the Strong Room in London. So basically, yeah, we got invited to that, and then to make it feasible, we're like, well, all right, well, let's see if we can book some shows around it. And the guys that run that festival, especially one in particular, Elios, it was very helpful and instrumental in getting us in contact with other promoters and like what venues to do. Because over there, they're very promoter driven, not like in the States where you're kind of dealing with a lot of venues directly. And we're not big enough to have like a touring agent book us a whole tour. So we can't do that. So we had to do everything ourselves in that sense and then kind of like communicate. But everyone's been great. Everyone's, a couple people have like got us places to stay. They're just like really excited that we're making the haul over there and that we're making the effort. And so, and they all seem like really great venues, really excited. Birmingham is one called, I think, Hare and Hound. A lot of people say really good things about that one. We're going to go up to Leeds and play the Hyde Book Club, which I heard is another awesome venue. And then we're going to play a couple smaller towns near the eastern coast side, Ramsgate and Chelmsford. And they're really excited that we're coming over there. I don't think they get a lot of bands that come out that way. There's even a chance we may add a sixth show. I didn't even tell you guys about that yet, but it's probably not going to happen. But it's possible. So yeah. I mean, it's going to be an adventure.
Fuck yeah. Well, like I said, I'm so happy for all of you and all the hard work that you put in. And I know you're going to soak up every moment of that experience. It's going to be so cool. Final question. Zach, are you ready?
I'm ready.
What has been one of the most rewarding aspects of your journey so far, personally or as a musician?
Definitely the people I've met along the way, like, Josh and Bryce at this point. They're some of the people I would say I'm closest with. I've got a small group of friends outside of the band. And I mean, just having such a good group of guys to relate to and share life with is great. That, and I mean, man, I never thought that I'd get to like go overseas to play music. So I'm still taking that one in. And so I'm so stoked.
I can hear it in your voice. Bryce, what about for you?
Man, rewarding. I mean, I don't know. I mean, all of this is just nice. Like every day that I get to keep doing stuff like this and reach out and do other creative things, meet new people that I never would have met otherwise. And, I don't know, like this all just feels like reward in it of itself. Like it can be hard work, but it's very rewarding on a personal level. And yeah, it's all of it. All of it's been rewarding and special.
Josh, close it out.
Yeah, I have a few ideas in this question. There's a few things. One is you kind of alluded to earlier with like opening the CD. When we get when the vinyl comes in and you kind of open it, that's really rewarding. That is definitely a milestone. I don't care like what level your band is. When you open that box and there's like 50 of your vinyl in there, that's pretty rewarding.
Yeah.
I would say like this is the first band I've ever been in where I like actually enjoy listening to the music. Any other band I would cringe or I just couldn't, I didn't enjoy listening to it. So it's rewarding in a sense that from a performer, it's great to perform the music and listen to it. And I think that's a nice combo. Third, I would say like earlier, if you would have told me in like 2019 or 2018 that Josh, you're going to move to the Pacific Northwest, start a band and open for Ringo Death Star 4 times, play with Soft Science, Deadly Fecho, a bunch of bands, I would have said you're fucking nuts. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to be able to pull that off. So that's super rewarding. And then I would say that maybe that's it. Maybe that's the 3. I don't know. Just the memories just are rewarding, like Bryce said, meeting some of the connections you meet with people are cool. Definitely like the ones you can tell like the music did make an impact on them, like genuinely those things come across. And that's really rewarding. If it's 1 person, 2 person, whatever. I mean, you could play to an empty room. If there's 1 person that is connecting that music, then it was worth the trip, whatever the cost was. So yeah, it's just like that fate in that sense of connecting with someone through the art that you made. That would be rewarding now, and then on your like deathbed, if it's like my last thought, it's awesome.
There's something you guys bring to the table that I think many of us appreciate and sometimes hunger for. That's authenticity, and it's kindness, is gratitude. There's respect. And going all the way back to earlier comments about meeting some of your kind of hero bands and not having such a great experience. I can't imagine people who love your music and meet you for the first time would ever say anything in that manner. You guys present yourselves as professional, and you make connections with people without it being about just you. Do you know what I'm saying?
And we're
Well, yeah, I mean-
probably the most humble people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
To toot our
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Sorry, that was a joke.
I mean, the fact that someone spends their money to buy an album, that goes a long way. It means a lot to me. That's like someone's hard-earned money. I don't know. I don't think that would ever be lost on me, no matter how successful you could get. I don't think you could lose that. I don't know. That's if you're on a large scale and it's 100,000 people buying your record, that's like 100,000 of their hard-earned checks that they're spending your money on. Also, I don't, like, we're just like normal dudes. Like, we're not going to get our head in the clouds about something. If you come to our show and you like our music, that's, like that makes our day. Yeah.
Everyone listening to this, head on over to Waves Crashing website, go over to Bandcamp, purchase some good stuff here. Look out for those tour dates and this new album, In the Blur. Great tracks. And as I just mentioned, what I take away from this conversation, as I did with the previous conversations, I'm seeing this trajectory. I'm seeing this climb. I'm seeing the hard work. And I definitely see that the brotherhood that you guys have formed. So hats off to you and all the work that you've been doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is W, host of this podcast feature known as Surprise Cast. And remember this, everyone. Great music is all around us. All you have to do is keep your ears open. Ciao.